Alright y'all, today we're making a Night's Watch build that's going to be based off of the Song of Ice and Fire franchise, but we're going to be focusing more on Jon Snow as a character to kind of like build our character archetype. And obviously now I have my dog here because we're going to be doing a Ranger Beastmaster essentially. This is Lady here and she is quite the little wolf. So I felt like bringing her aboard for the intro at least was appropriate, but she might gnaw my hand off by the time I get through this video. So I think we're going to put her on the ground. But I'm pretty sure if like, you know, D&D and all that was in real life and we had to like pick kind of like a class that would represent us, I would totally be a Ranger Beastmaster because, man, not having like an animal companion, yeah, it just don't feel right. Goodbye. Goodbye. We love you. All right. Before we get into this video, let me fix everything. Hi, baby. Yeah, she's going to be sitting around over here. But before we get into the video, kind of talk about what we do here on the channel in case this is your first time. We make fun thematic builds for Baldur's Gate 3. Not necessarily the most optimized, more on the, again, fun thematic size. Viable in Honor Mode and Tactician, so don't worry about that. But I basically just give you the skeleton frame of a build that obviously items and equipment, they're just going to make it better. But even without those things, you'll see that it can perform. So if that sounds like something you'd enjoy, consider hitting that like and subscribe button. And also maybe comment below, just saying things like hi, something like that. Those things really help out a small channel like myself. But yeah, let's get into the video. And just so you know, yes, she's just still chewing on my hand over here because it's time to go for a walk. So we might do that before we get into the video here. But the way this is going to work, we're going to go through character creation. I'm then going to talk about basically the levels for Act 1, Act 2, Act 3, and then we'll end the video with a gameplay section. I'm going to do things a little bit different with this video compared to my other ones to see if we can kind of shave off some time so these videos aren't as lengthy and they're kind of getting very, I don't want to say stale, but going through the level screens each time, I kind of want to change it up and see if this new way can work. So let's head on over to character creation. All right, here we are in character creator. Obviously, we're going to be picking human. That is the race of all the Night's Watch. Class, Ranger. Favorite enemy, you could go with Bounty Hunter, Ranger Knight, Sanctified Stalker. All those seem appropriate. Since we are going basically all Beastmaster, you're going to basically unlock all these anyways. Natural Explorer here, we're going to go with the cold, the north. It's very cold. Background-wise, kind of just whatever you want. Obviously, anybody can be sent to the Night's Watch with either willingly or not. And ability points. This is kind of how I would have the spread here. You know, you're going to have the choice of using a bow and arrow. So that's why I kind of have dexterity at 16. Also, initiative is going to be important. Putting in strength here because we're going to be basing kind of our archetype off of Jon Snow, which he's going to be using a longsword. So 16 strength is appropriate. Constitution 14, wisdom 12. Everybody in the Night's Watch is kind of miserable and they don't want to be there. So charisma 8. But yeah, this is how I do the ability points. Obviously, there's going to be items like the Titan Bow, which uses your strength modifier instead, but having dexterity really doesn't hurt here. And before we go over to the leveling section, or I guess I'm just going to break it down in Act 1, Act 2, Act 3. Before we go to Act 1, some just general thoughts about... Hang on, my dog is having an issue. You know how you can tell that a Song of Ice and Fire and Game of Thrones is fantasy? Because they never talk about any of the wolves getting the zoomies. Alright, but now we're back. So yeah, this is how I would lay out my ability points here. Obviously, you can change up some things like maybe you don't want as much constitution, maybe a little more wisdom, take down the dexterity, put it into wisdom, something like that. You can do whatever you want there. But I think 16 strength is basically required because we're going to be using a longsword. Now, real quick about kind of Ranger and Beastmaster in general. I actually don't think Beastmaster is very good until you get to Act 3. I'm not saying it's not viable, but I do think they struggle a little bit, especially when you compare Beastmaster to Gloomstalker. So if you find that being a Beastmaster throughout Act 1 and Act 2 is a little bit too much of a rub, then I would either just switch to Gloomstalker or I would go straight into Fighter Battlemaster instead. But I'd probably stick more towards the Gloomstalker Ranger side because the Night's Watch, what are they? Well, they're an order that protects the wall in the north. And there's not that many of them, and they send out, and they're basically an army of Rangers, but not a lot of them. And so they're not wearing things like plate mail and stuff. They're mostly, you know, in equipment to stay warm and mobile and basically survive the elements. And the fantasy theme here, the character archetype we're going to try to make here is Jon Snow. And all the Starks, they have an affinity towards warging, which means they have a special bond with their animal and can transfer their consciousness into them. So in Jon's case, that's Ghost. So the animal companion we're going to be sticking with is the wolf, but just know you can really use any of the animals you want. But let's get to Act 1. Let's talk about the leveling there. All right, so Act 1, you see we got a new sheet here that kind of goes through the whole leveling process for Act 1. And now I'm picking out things that you're going to, I would consider mandatory. They're not all the options, but they're the ones I would pick. So if you see something that when you're leveling that's not on this list and you've already chosen something like, say, like Long Strider or something like that, just know that choice is then going to be up to you. So starting off, level 2 on Ranger, Hunter's Mark, extremely important. You'll see why when we get to especially our Wolf Companion. And then I would pick Long Strider just for that helpful extra movement. And then at level 3 there, we're going to be picking we get our Beastmaster specialization, and we're going to be picking the Wolf Companion. Now, the Wolf Companion, when you summon the Wolf Companion, if you are in proximity of it, you will have advantage on your attacks, which is really helpful. They also get an additional benefit against Hunter's Mark. So any enemy that you have marked, the Wolf Companion will do more damage. Now, at the beginning, I said that Beastmaster was a little underwhelming until, later into Act 3. And that's because their the pet movement is not the greatest, and then their health wise, they don't seem like it's just a little harder to get them going, I would say. But just know, if you're going to play towards your wolf strengths, you're going to want to be in close proximity to it, and then you're going to be wanting to put on your Hunter's Mark. And I really think that helps the wolf really excel or do the best to their ability. At level 4, we get a first feat. I mentioned that we are going into strength. We're picking a longsword, so Great Weapon Master does work with longsword. It's going to give us flat damage, but also going to hurt our attack rolls a little bit. And then at level 5, we get extra attack. So if we, stack that our regular attack, we get then an extra attack. With Great Weapon Master, if we can proc that, that's 3 attacks, and then counting our Wolf Companion's attack, that's 4 attacks that the Ranger is contributing to every turn. So we're starting to build a little bit of momentum, but you're going to see that momentum kind of dips a little bit. Also at level 5, your Wolf is going to get an upgraded look. Their stats are going to be increased. They're going to get a new bite attack that adds Septic. So you get a few more tools to play with, essentially. And then level 6, you have 2 spell choices that I would go with. You're going to be picking up probably the other one at level 7 anyways. Dark Vision and Pass Without Trace. Dark Vision obviously going to help you see in dark places. It's really helpful in Act 2. And then Pass Without Trace is just going to help your stealth rolls. And both of these spells, well, Dark Vision in particular, you just cast on yourself, and then you only have to do it again during after a long rest. And then Pass Without Trace, this is just really nice for stealth checks, but it does have a turn countdown. So you only apply it when you need to be stealthy. So that's Act 1. Now, what are you going to be doing? Well, obviously you're going to be using your Wolf Companion. That's the first thing you want to do, is summon your Wolf Companion, and then casting Long Strider on yourself and your Wolf Companion. And then obviously your rest of your party members. But when you get into combat, you're going to be casting Hunter's Mark, and then you're just going to be going to town with your weapon. Hopefully proccing that Great Weapon Master. But between your attacks and your Wolf's attacks, you're going to be at least having advantage on all those. So that's going to be helpful in you basically succeeding all your attack rolls. Especially in the early game, it can be a little rough, especially if you don't have somebody who is casting Bless on you. But that's basically the breakdown of Act 1. Hopefully we got through this quicker than we normally would. So let's move on to Act 2. Now, before we get to Act 2, Jon, how are you liking the build so far?
I don't want it.
Okay, seems appropriate. Now for Act 2, level 7, we're going to be picking up one of the other spell that we didn't pick at level 6. So pick whatever one you didn't have before. And then we're going to get exceptional training with our Beast Companion here, our Wolf. It just makes them that they can use their movement abilities as a bonus action. So a little bit of a mobility help there. And then at level 8, we get to pick up our second feat. I would just go with Alert here. Just to, again, help that make sure that you get that first initiative roll and that you can't be surprised. This is just kind of a go-to, especially for Honor Mode and Tactician. And then level 9, we're going to get Conjure Barrage or Lightning Arrow. I would go with Conjure Barrage. This is actually a really cool skill. You can use it in melee range, but I would only use this if you are within range of 3 targets or more. I wouldn't use this on a single target because you don't get an extra attack with this. It's considered a spell, but it's a really cool spell. It works off of your weapon, so you can use this with your bow and arrow, or you can use this with your sword. But if you find yourself, more gravitating towards using a bow and arrow enough times, Lightning Arrow, it's really good. We're going to be picking up probably Lightning Arrow at level 10 anyways. But for Act 2, just like the general gameplay, it's going to work exactly the same as Act 1. We really don't get anything too crucial here. Conjure Barrage is nice for an AoE, but that's about it. And before we get to the Act 3 section, obviously not everybody's going to be ending Act 2 at level 9. You could be actually level 10. So keep that in mind. It's just, I just had a playthrough where I found my characters at level 9. I was kind of rushing things along, so that can be the case. But let's go on to Act 3. Now, in Act 3, again, we're going to pick the one that we didn't pick up before. So in my case, it would be Lightning Arrow here. But really, everything juicy comes at level 11. We get Bestial Fury. Now, this gives your pet companion their extra attack. So if we're counting our attack, our extra attack, their extra attack, on top of the Great Weapon Master, if we proc that, that's 5 attacks. And we're all doing this without haste, by the way. And then at this point, your Wolf Companion also gets Lupine Slash, which is it's almost like Barrage. It does a frontal cone AoE in melee range, but you can use it as an extra attack as well. So you can do 2 big cone attacks in melee range, which is really nice. So now I would consider Beastmaster actually really good, but you can see during the leveling process, there wasn't a whole lot going on in the Act 2 section here, but now we've really picked it up here at level 11. So at level 12, I feel like the only must pick, because we're going to get our last feat here, I would go with Marshal of Depth, because as Ramsay Bolton points out,
I keep hearing stories about you, bastard. The way people in the north talk about you, you're the greatest swordsman who ever walked.
So for this, I would just pick up for your Battle Master superiority die. I would just go with Disarming Attack and maybe Riposte. I would put Riposte on Toggle though, because you only do get 1 die. So you kind of want to make that choice count, especially if you want to actually disarm somebody and use it on Riposte and it's gone. That would stink. So this is our Night's Watch build here. We're obviously picking the archetype of Jon Snow. So let's see how it does in the gameplay section. Alright, and then onto the gameplay section here. You can see that I have 17 strength. This character got the Hag's Hair in Act 1, but not required, and 17 doesn't do anything. It would have to be up to 18. But looking at our equipment here, our head slot here, it's going to give us more, it's going to give us a better attack roll when we use our Hunter's Mark, which we are going to be utilizing. Cloak of Protection, this is just more armor class. You get this in Act 2. I just bought this off of one of the vendors. This is nothing important here, or I guess it's not very good. You're going to have better things by now. For your chest piece. Martial Exertion Gloves, this is, you also get this in Act 3, you buy it from the gnomes. This is going to give us basically Action Surge at the cost of health, which is going to be pretty nice. I think actually works pretty well with this build, just to give us more attacks. And then Boots, this is just a mobility option, nothing important there. Sword wise, we're going with the Blackguard sword. This is just an okay long sword at this point. We don't need any bow. I'm not going to be showing you any rings or amulets. That's kind of just all up to you. But switching over to our wolf here, you can kind of see their stats here. You can kind of see all their passive traits that they get here. Their attacks here, the most important we want is this Lupine Slash here. This is going to be that frontal cone that I was talking about, and you can use this twice as your extra attack. And these other ones here, they're nice, they're okay. Most of the time I would actually be using, so if you're in the Act 1, Act 2 with a wolf companion, I would actually be using them to help up down players and stuff. They're pretty handy at that kind of like utility. And then also being able to knock players over or enemies over prone is their next utility option. So not the best damage until I would say they get to that level 11 mark. And even, this isn't the greatest damage, but it helps. But we are going to juice ourselves up a little bit because of we like to use our haste battery here. This is just a character that I always run with in every one of my parties. I have somebody who is a sorcerer with twin spell that they can cast haste on 2 characters, just like this. And so with that done, we can go ahead and jump into the fight. Alright, obviously we won the initiative roll because we have haste. So now it's just a matter of what do we want to do with our targets. I kind of want to showcase the whole kit. I think I can do a good job. I think this is a good encounter to kind of show everything we can do. So I want to show the barrage skill. I want to use Hunter's Mark on somebody to kind of show how much of a damage bump our wolf companion gets. The only issues are this mage is going to counter any spell we use, so we need to kind of bait that out or just eat an action just to bait that out. And then this guy here, this dwarf warden, he's kind of like the commander here. He will try this like the fear and frighten us with menacing strike, and then use action surge to like beat the crap out of us. So those are the kind of 2 pain points here. And this ranger obviously will try to ensnare us, which that hurts our mobility. But let's see if we can just get a nice showcase of barrage right here. So we're gonna move here. And so I think it's gonna counter. Yeah, so counterspell that, thought that was going to happen. And so we'll just keep spamming it. Let's do it again. Again, that middle character, this one doesn't matter, it's 7 health, which is absolutely nothing. And then what else do we want to do here? So we can actually use martial exertion, which is kind of going to be an action surge for us. So yeah, I think we're going to do that. We're going to try to take out the mage. So we're going to proc opportunity strike, which is fine. We'll survive it. And then if we want to do the most damage, we'll use disarming, but I don't think that's absolutely necessary. And in fact, so I mentioned earlier how we're going to switch over to our wolf companion for a second here, because they have that pact ability, which if your allies are in melee range, they get advantage on their attack rolls. So let's move them over closer to our ranger. So I actually misspoke. It's not, so the wolf is the one who gets advantage, not both of them. I thought both of them would get it. So for the pact ability there, the wolf is the only one who gets advantage on attack rolls. It's not the ranger too. That kind of sucks. Man, that'd be better if both of them got it, but oh well. So they're going to have advantage. So this is going to actually be an easy kill here. So we might as well just go for it. Let's do it the most damage here. So with their regular attack here, Septic is just going to do a -1 to their constitution, and then their constitution saving throws are going to have a disadvantage. So that's okay. It's not going to do the most damage though. The most damage is going to come from our Lupine Slash here, which is nice too because it is that one with that little cone AoE. So we're just going to go in there and we're just going to try to finish off the mage here. So 16, it's decent damage, but it also, we get to use our like extra attack with it. So we get 4 because we have haste as well. So they're gone. So that's nice. And then we're just going to try to knock this guy prone. So if we can knock him prone, that means then our ranger there will get advantage on his attack. So we didn't knock him prone. That's okay. We'll just end our turn here for our wolf. And then we'll move over to our ranger. And we'll try to, I want to try to disarm actually the warden over here. So we just kind of want to kill him. I don't think we'll get it done here unless we get like a crit. We missed anyway, it's not a big deal. But what we can do is, because we're not going to get counter spell now, we can put that hunter's mark on the warden. And so when our wolf gets their next turn, they're going to do more damage. So I kind of want to move him over here. I don't want that guy to beat the crap out of my ranger, especially and knock off our concentration. If you haven't noticed, yeah, with these videos, I kind of I shoot from the hip, meaning I don't really have a script. I just kind of do it all off of memory and like a little prep with like, you know, my sheets and stuff. But so if things go tits up here, that's probably why. They're using a volley attack. Volley is actually really cool for a ranger. Rangers get a lot of things. They get stuff in the beginning and at the end. It's that middle section which they kind of drag. So this is all okay. Well, we're fine here. Ah, hunter's mark broken. That's fine. So we're just gonna reapply it. You'll see here we're gonna have actually our wolf get both of them. Oof, that's a nice bit of damage. Especially because it's small AoE. We can just do this 4 times. So that sucks that we missed those other times, but I kind of want to see if those actually got applied to him. Yeah, they did there. So they got a +4 from the companion's bond. So that's what I was looking for there. I'm sorry, it's not the companion's bond. It's the praise scent. So we got a 1d6 for that. So cool. That's what I wanted to check out there. And that was basically their turn, and we should be able to finish them off, or at least get them really low. We're looking a little ragged here. Obviously, this is not a solo build, so you're gonna have 3 other party members with you, and who knows, they could all be Beastmasters, and then you have a double party size. That would be a fun run through actually. So let's try to disarm him. If we can disarm this guy, he'll basically be useless. He did a saving throw. Okay, that's fine. We're going to go ahead and just kill him, because we're also benefiting from that hunter's mark. So they're down, and now we just have this ranger to deal with. We're just gonna go for a normal strike. Oh no, well this actually works out perfectly, because I always want to showcase the fact that, yeah, you can use these animal companions to actually help up your characters instead, so they have a little bit of like a support role as well. Because having to use one of your party members to help another party member up if they're down can kind of be a drag. It's nice to have a companion unit do it for you. So we're going to target our bonus action. We're going to have them go help our ranger. The game is thinking. There we go. Good pup. And now we have the 4 strikes with our animal, or with the wolf. But also we have our hunter's mark we can reapply here. So I do love how the ranger and their beast companion, there's a lot of synergy and they just work really well together as a pair. And we're just gonna have the wolf just go in there and just lunge the crap out of them. They're prone now. Let's just go ahead and hit them as hard as we can. And there's the fight. So that went pretty well. Kind of showcased the full kit. And again, my items are not very good. You're going to have much better items, or at least you're going to have your rings and your trinkets. And then you also have the option of using a bow and arrow. But for this video, I was just sticking more with like Jon Snow instead of like, I guess, a general Night's Watch member. So yeah, let me know what you guys would do for a Night's Watch build. And again, I guess give me like your suggestions as well. And then also, yeah, if you were like a D&D character, what do you think your class would be, you know, in the subclass? Like I said earlier, I would totally be a Ranger Beastmaster. Just not having a pet feels wrong. You know, I don't feel whole without one. But yeah, that's the build. If you made it this far, thank you so much. Consider subscribing, and yeah, I'll catch you in the next one. Take care. Peace.